Anytime my resume has gotten in front of somebody, from a recruiting perspective, and even my LinkedIn profile has really yielded far more results than I ever have in the past. I was getting phone calls for the first time, and I'd never had that before. It doesn't matter how much experience I had and what I had written, it just wasn't written in a format that was speaking to recruiters or speaking to people who were looking for the kind of position I was looking for. And with Jules' efforts, that made that happen.
It only took 30 days for Elizabeth to get hired for her senior vice president role. Her story is coming up. This is the Get Hired Show. Today's episode, 3 big mistakes most job seekers make that keep them from getting calls back. Give me some likes, give me some loves. If you're eager to learn about today's topic, I want to know that you're excited about this. I'm Jewel Bracey DeMaio, principal job search strategist and executive coach, helping 6- and 7-figure directors, VPs, and C-level leaders get hired in 90 days or less, guaranteed. The problem is when you're not where you want to be in the first place. The powers that be have already let you know, overtly or covertly, that there's no room for advancement, not for you anyway. Or leadership is viscerally misaligned with your personal values. That's when your voice is not being heard. And in a quite short period of time, that can add up to feeling like you're dying inside a little bit every single day. Career stagnation is disheartening, realizing that the professional growth you envisioned has hit a roadblock. There's this unfulfilled potential on the inside. With no clear path forward, each day that passes without a change intensifies the frustration. The emotional turbulence can lead to deep dissatisfaction, as if your talents are trapped in some kind of box, trying to break free so that you can make a more significant impact, not to mention imposter syndrome, that persistent feeling of inadequacy or not measuring up, even though you have all the quantifiable evidence of the successes and impact you've delivered. Feeling unnoticed or unappreciated in your current professional setting can lead to a sense of invisibility. Your contributions may go unrecognized, and the disconnect between your efforts and acknowledgement can create emotional dissonance. It's like you're playing a vital role, but not getting the applause that your efforts rightly deserve. If it causes you to have a bit of an identity crisis, know that you're not in that boat by yourself. You don't have to stay stuck wondering if your career defines you or if there's more to your essence beyond professional pursuits. The gap between your current position and your desired destination could have you questioning whether you truly deserve the career that you envision. Well, I have the answer for you right now. You do deserve it. In fact, it's already yours. You just have to learn how to make it a reality in your life. And I'm here to give you the practical strategy and the steps to do that. This juncture for you right now can be a transformative one. Now is the time to reconnect with your core values and your passion. So when it comes to putting yourself out there, there's actually an opportunity here for self-reflection. And we'll talk today about how to properly re-examine your skills and expertise so that you can accelerate along your career journey. Let's not allow regret to take hold or sink in, especially when reflecting on past decisions and missed opportunities. Look forward now as you make decisions and make sure that they're more informed choices and take calculated risks to move in the direction that you want and that you need. What I know for sure, if you're not where you want to be, stop playing in a stadium where no one is clapping for you. Use this moment as motivation to move on and move forward. Articulate your achievements in the ways we'll be going over today so that you can shine in the next stadium that you're actually meant for. There's a reason why I want to highlight mistakes today and help you avoid them. In the competitive landscape, you have to be aware of what not to fall victim to so that you can move forward consistently and actually secure opportunities. Now, feel free to drop your thoughts in the comments if you believe you may have already fallen victim, because we're going to fix that today. These mistakes can be invisible, yet they are most definitely barriers to you getting the calls back for jobs you know you perfectly qualify for. Recognizing and addressing these pitfalls not only enhances the chances of you landing interviews, but also ensures a more strategic and ultimately fulfilling career trajectory. So it's not just about avoiding errors, it's also about unlocking the potential for professional growth and realizing the full spectrum of opportunities that align with your skills and with your aspirations. I'm very interested in your perspective on this, so share in the comments if we're on the same page. Because repeated rejections erode confidence, the persistent feeling of being overlooked can create a downward spiral. And I don't want you at the point when you're questioning your abilities and your worth. It's almost never about your abilities. It's never about your worth. It's almost always about a broken hiring system. Additionally, I don't want the passion and the fire in you to go out, which is quite literally the definition of burnout. And you can definitely tell me in the comments if that's you, burnt out. The emotional toll of navigating the job market, coupled with setbacks, can diminish the energy that I want you to bring to this. I want to recharge you and reinvigorate you so that you can rekindle your passion and be driven forward. If you're concerned about making mistakes that slow down your job search, you need to ask yourself, am I presenting myself strategically? And strategy is what we're all about today, not just talking about it, but actually demonstrating the specific steps of what to do in order to present yourself the right way. Far too often, what happens is that candidates overlook the importance of crafting a narrative that not only highlights your skills, but also aligns with the employer's needs. Note that there are two parts there: the expertise you want to highlight and the skills the employer is actually hiring for. You have to be in alignment there. It's not just about listing qualifications, it's about telling a comprehensive story that showcases how your unique strengths can contribute to the organization's success. Then you have to ask yourself, who is my target audience? Because you cannot be generic. I'm going to say that again louder for the people in the back. You cannot be generic. Sending out countless applications without tailoring them to specific roles and organizations diminishes the impact of your candidacy. There is no such concept of casting a wide net. Well, there is, but it doesn't work. So you end up taking the opioid drug in the hope of catching any opportunity. We not only have an opioid crisis in this country, we also have a opioid crisis when it comes to job search. And when you're floating on the opioid drug, it just leads to a lack of resonance with the employers you actually want. Wait, what? You don't know what employers you actually want? Or any employer would do just fine? Nope, that's not a strategy. Your job search is a precision task, and it requires a targeted approach that aligns your skills with the unique needs of each prospective employer. Job seeking is inherently challenging, and setbacks are an inevitable part of the journey. Recognizing the importance of resilience and mindset mastery is crucial for navigating the emotional highs and lows of the game. Because once you learn the mistakes and know how to avoid them, guess what? That's how you get job search success. Like our client John, he got hired in less than 90 days. After being laid off, he locked arms with us and said, we made the resume process easy for him and equipped him to effectively handle the AI that's all over the place these days until he got a call from a decision maker. Yes, they do call you when you learn what to do. And he also interviewed with the president of the organization and he got the offer. Plus, there's Tony, who landed her new job at the senior director level in less than a month. She said the resume revamp and new LinkedIn profile gave her a confidence boost. And she's thrilled that this all came together the way that it did. And we have Martin, who followed the specific steps we recommended after he had been laid off. And the recruiters reached out to him. These were recruiters who were in his field, where he lived, and talking about jobs that matched what he wanted to do. The opportunity that he ultimately got was a hidden job market role that wasn't even posted. He didn't even formally apply for it. They called him about that job, and that's the offer that he accepted. So let's get into this in a practical way so you learn exactly what the 3 big mistakes are that most job seekers make that keep them from getting calls back, and of course, how to avoid them. Then I want us to hear Elizabeth's story and the strategy we use to get her hired in 30 days. And finally, we'll take a look at the screen so that you can get the actionable steps to implement. So instead of falling victim to mistakes, you're moving consistently forward in your search, getting responses to your resume, getting calls back from your LinkedIn profile, and being invited to interviews and hearing offers. I'll share this. We had a client who worked in staffing and wanted to pivot to diversity, equity, and inclusion at a minimum on the director level. The issue was that although she had touched on DEI projects in several positions throughout her career, DEI was never formally within her scope of responsibility, nor was it ever in any of her job titles. This is where paying attention to what the employer wants, then making sure your skills and expertise match that come into play. It's not just a matter of listing your skills and expertise and expecting the employer to connect the dots. No one is connecting the dots for you. Picture this in your mind. Everyone is looking at your resume or LinkedIn profile on their phone in the car. And they're also driving the car. That's how much attention you're getting at first. Always bear that in mind. So we strategically positioned her for the DEI roles that she wanted. For the role that she got, she applied. They reached out a month later. She had the panel interview on a Monday, and then that Friday, she got the offer. Let's now talk about what these 3 big mistakes are. Mistake number 1, not reverse engineering the job description. So failing to reverse engineer job descriptions typically results in being generic, causing a mismatch between your skills and what the employer actually needs. Employers make quick judgments, takes them 7 seconds or less. And even in that 7 seconds, they are super distracted because they're getting phone notifications and driving the car. So if on top of all those things in the world, your resume is misaligned with what that employer needs, that's a negative first impression that results in you getting deleted. You're never going to hear from them. Here's what you want to do instead. Print the job description and your resume side by side. Use a red pen to map the 3 most important duties of that role to 3 specific instances on your resume that illustrate you accomplishing those duties successfully. And when it comes to the 3 most important duties, use the following as a litmus test. Here's the key question. What you're asking yourself is, what is it that this employer is reaching into his back pocket every 2 weeks to pay me to actually come in and actually do? Ask yourself that question as a litmus test. And the key words are actually do. Every job description says you need to have good communication skills. Every job description says you need to be a self-starter. But Things like that fail the litmus test. The employer's not really reaching into his back pocket every 2 weeks to cut you a paycheck for being a self-starter. And even listen to the words that I'm using. I'm talking about the employer paying you for things that you would actually do. Do is different than be. The reality that you can be a self-starter is different than doing the core duties of the job. Listen to how else my words differ. We're talking about what you actually do. But if one of the things you emblazon across the top of your resume is that you have good communication skills, there's a difference between having good communication skills and actually doing the core duties of the job. So it's important to identify the 3 core duties of the job, and then you need to map those to your resume. If that's something that resonates with you, if that's something that makes sense to you, that you can go implement today, give me some likes, give me some loves. Now, here's another pro tip. Link the role that you're targeting to the company's strategic goal. So connect your potential contributions in their environment to the broader goals and objectives that the organization has. And you can find that out about practically every company online. Demonstrate how you can help the company achieve its strategic vision. It requires more thought than just clicking the easy apply button, and I'm completely against the easy apply button anyway. I want you to think more deeply about each opportunity and go deeper with fewer opportunities than going wider and surface and using one-click easy apply for a bunch of alleged opportunities. Mistake number 2, failing to get to the bottom line. So when you're focusing only on job duties and responsibilities without highlighting your achievements, it makes your resume blend in with everybody else's. You have to include the bottom line results of your actions. Otherwise, the narrative that you're putting forth is incomplete because you're missing the most critical part. Without specific metrics, your resume can leave employers wondering whether your contributions were significant or just routine. And so here's a fast fact for you. If a prospective employer is wondering about anything, all that translates to is a quick hit of the delete button. Quantifiable achievements, though, leave no room for doubt. You need to demonstrate ROI. Employers want to know what kind of ROI they can expect from hiring you. So quantify your achievements with specific, measurable metrics and use them to either kick off or wrap up your bullet points. So that's going to be something very, very important that you need to do. Mistake number 3 is coming up with an on-screen demonstration so you can really catch this screenshot by screenshot and know how to apply it. Right now, let's have Elizabeth share her success story because avoiding these mistakes we're talking about ended up being key to her getting hired.
I have accepted a position with Georgia Pacific as a category leader, and I will be starting on March 1st. And I'm really excited about it because they are the thought leadership that I've been looking for.
Tell me a little bit more about what you mean by that when you say the thought leadership that you've been wanting.
Sure. So everybody talks about best practices and has words on the wall and things that everybody points to and all the rest of that. But this company really walks the walk and not just talks the talk. The entire interview process is geared around questions for their 8 management principles that they require and expect their employees and their managers to work and interact by.
And so when you talk about the 8 management principles, did
Mhm.
you know about that before you went in? What was your interview prep like before you met with the various people in your string of interviews?
I happen to know something about that these were really important things for the company, in addition to the fact that when I was sent my interview itinerary, they did have links to best practices for interviewing, as well as the 8 guiding principles that I've been referring to. So there's a ton of information online. And so it allowed me to be able to really dig in and really understand, what they meant by these 8 different guiding principles and examples of what that meant, what it looked like in real life and practicality, both as an individual contributor and as a manager.
So let's back things up for just a second. And I want to go to the beginning of the story. What can you share with us about what the situation was in the first place that caused you to be looking for something new?
Sure. I had come out of working for an organization that maybe was not in line with the best thought leadership that I personally subscribe to, and one I had been in as well in a previous life. So, um, that really, being in the wrong culture and in the wrong environment, especially for myself, it really was a huge impact to, my mental health and really my drive to find another position. And I felt myself really needing to spend more time cycling through and processing exactly everything that I had been through. It had been a great opportunity, but it just really wasn't the best fit culturally for me. And I greatly underestimated the amount of time and the impact of what I had gone through and what I needed to do in order to be able to successfully put myself out there, especially when it came to interviews, to really show my best self. And so that I've already, gone through all of that stuff, and that didn't play as much of a factor in my interviewing process. And I was able to land a position with a company that I respect.
This is so important, kind of the origin story and where you came from in the first place. And this is where I think your story is really the same as a lot of people, being in a place where it's impacting your mental health and however that plays out. I just had a conversation today with another client who is experiencing the exact same thing where you look around and it's not like you wake up one day with this thought of oh, this place is really weighing on me, or however that thought expresses itself, but sometimes the workplace can kind of creep into our mental health in a bit of a negative way, and it
Mhm.
creeps in and it happens over a period of time. And
True.
so you came out of that. I know that other people struggle with this,
Mhm.
and it's good that you made the moves to step into something that's better for yourself.
Mhm.
Talk a little bit about, did that mental health experience that you went through, did you have any concern that it would bleed into your interviews, or did you have a way to kind of take care of that so that you would, like you said, show up as your best self?
Yes, I was extremely concerned about that showing up in my interviews. I know all of the best practices when it comes to interviewing and all the rest of that, but cycling through enough to be able to present the best self, really, it took a lot of soul searching and, quite frankly, a couple of calls to Jewel herself, to say, hey, this is what I'm experiencing. And she's, she was very good about saying, hey, you're totally normal. This can happen. And, you should take the time to do that, as well as, when Jewel took the time to prep me for some interviews. Really, at the end of it, she's like, hey, listen, 95% of this information. You've lived this, you've walked it, you've talked it, you've done it, you've got all these success stories, the information. So, just practice a couple of the answers to the hard questions, if you will, and then you're ready to go. And what was also very helpful was, this isn't a college crash course in taking a final. Is don't study all the way up until the time that you're going to deliver. Take that couple hours, a 3-hour break, go eat lunch, go work out, go do whatever it is, and be ready to answer those questions and with a fresh brain.
Now, you touch on something important, that when I do interview strategy with you and with others, we do not take it up to the last blessed minute. Really, I prefer that you not talk to me for interview prep on the day of the interview, because it's too much and your brain gets too wound up. So, really, what's key to mastering the meeting is being able to be confident that factually you know the information. Objectively, you have the experience, right? So
Mhm.
usually that's never the issue. The issue is how to frame it, how to shape it, how to present the story. Those are the issues that we concentrate on when we're talking about interview prep and mastering the meeting. But I never have to give you content. I don't have to tell you your business. I don't have to tell you your expertise. That's the part you bring to the table. I'm here to cheer you on, but not in a kumbaya type of way, but cheer you on and let you know, yeah, you do have this. Yeah, you do know all that you need to know. It's just a matter of how you're going to present it for this opportunity for this person. That's where the mental health piece can really chip away. It doesn't chip away at your knowledge. You know what you know. You have the expertise that you have. Mental health part doesn't chip away at that. What it does, though, is it can chip away at the confidence. And I'm here to shore you back up and remind you, hey, you know exactly how to do this job. Hey, look at the top 5 things they require in this job. Yes, you've done this, you've done this, you've done this, you've done this. Let's point to the places in the resume where I already wrote that you did that. Let's go back for a second and talk about building the story on your resume.
Mhm.
So tell me about how you felt about doing that process with me. Tell
Mhm.
me about how you felt when you saw the end result. Let's talk about that for a minute.
Sure. First of all, I was caught off guard about how much time Jewel spends with you before she starts doing any sort of work. And I had had somebody write a resume from before, and I could very easily tell the difference between, how Jewel was going about it with her process. We spent a significant amount of time, her, walking through, asking me questions, and just, really digging into, getting to the factual stuff and the meat, if you will. Um, when I was writing my resume, I just really wasn't bringing the stuff that really brings the wow factor to the resume. So when I read the resume for the first time from Jewel, first I was like, who's this? Oh, wait a minute, that's me.
That's great because you did do those things.
Exactly. So, the end product has been incredibly impactful. Anytime my resume has gotten in front of somebody, from a recruiting perspective, and even my LinkedIn profile has really yielded far more results than I ever have in the past. I was getting phone calls for the first time, and I'd never had that before. It doesn't matter how much experience I had and what I had written, it just wasn't written in a format that was speaking to recruiters or speaking to people who were looking for the kind of position I was looking for. And with Jules' efforts, that made that happen.
What's really important about what you're saying, and what I want for our viewers to really understand, is that there's a difference between presenting history or a list of things on a piece of paper, the 4 corners of which we call a resume. That's one thing.
Mhm.
Quite frankly, it's straight out of 1999. What I like to work on with you is phase 1 of building that story. And the story has some core pillars. The pillars are who you are. Who you are is the most important. That's why I say it first, because who you are is really the only unique thing that you bring to the table.
Mhm.
Clearly, other people in America do what you do, have the same job title as you, and that's true for pretty much everybody. So, who you are is the most important. What you do, that's the core of what you do all day, every day. What's your real expertise? And I go into that in a way that I consider to be deep and hardcore. I'm looking for things like, operation strategy, sales team leadership, revenue growth, things like that, that you actually come in and do. Those are your areas of expertise. What I don't believe in are the imitation keywords that cover things up, like good communication skills and teamwork and things like that. And if you think about it, the employer is not really reaching into their back pocket every 2 weeks to cut you a check for, being able to work in a fast-paced environment. That's not it. They're paying you so that you can come in and do those core things. And then the third pillar to the story that I use to build the resume and LinkedIn has to do with the value that you bring. So you can say a whole lot of things about yourself, but then it's like, well, so what? And you keep on asking yourself that question. So what you did this? So what you did that? Well, we increased efficiency X%. Well, we made X amount of dollars. That's the so what. And that's the value that you bring. So I know that we put those elements into your story. Elizabeth, talk a little bit about what happened with your new LinkedIn, because then we had to translate the story onto LinkedIn. What were the results there for you?
Sure. I mean, I've had a LinkedIn profile for I don't know how long, probably 10 plus years. And Jewel went in there and I guess just put in exactly was going to be the most impactful stuff. None of the fluff. It wasn't a copy paste of my resume, which is what I'd always done and anybody else I'd ever known. And so the impact of that is I was getting phone calls from recruiters on a regular basis. I'd gotten 0 phone calls previously. So having a lot of recruiters, and not only were they calling me and contacting me through LinkedIn, it was for positions that were at the level and of the interest that I was looking for. It wasn't just the franchisee opportunity or a position that was, significantly off base. They were targeted job inquiries by recruiters. So I can't say enough about my LinkedIn profile and the results that Jewel was able to get for me.
We're going to hear part 2 of Elizabeth's story in our next episode. Elizabeth transformed her job search by initiating that first crucial step. The very same initial step that I encourage you, friends, to take advantage of, the new job game plan. What we do is hold a free new job game plan with you, and you can get it by going to 90dayoffer.com/game plan. Your new job game plan is with me or the team, so here's what we're going to talk about. What's going on in your current job search situation now, why you're searching right now, what's put you out into this job market, how the search is going, and how we may be able to help. It's important for us to be able to hear about your story and hear about your situation in order to recommend what will be helpful for you. 90dayoffer.com/game plan is the place to go. New job game plan takes about 15 minutes. We'll answer all the questions that you have and probably the ones you hadn't even thought to ask. Let's get back into it. Mistake number 3, not clarifying what you want to get hired to do. The clearer you are about what you want, the faster your brain will execute the steps to get it. When you are competing with job seekers who have a clear sense of purpose, but you don't, that's how you end up caught in a job search that takes a year and a day. So understand what the goals and challenges are that you can attack in the employer's organization. You need to know what makes you happy and fulfilled in your work. Otherwise, you're ending up wasting your time, your energy, your resources on applying for jobs that are not right for you, which can ultimately mean that you end up settling for less than what you deserve. So create a clear vision in your mind's eye of your ideal role, company, and culture. Know the skills and values and passions that you have to offer. Avoid this trap of presenting yourself as a jack of all trades, because without a clear career objective, what you risk is coming across as unfocused, and you're not going to stand out to potential employers. So let's talk about what goes into articulating a clear value proposition so the employer can easily understand how you bring value to their organization. Let's use this procedure as a surefire way to know what skills we want to emphasize in order to attract an employer's attention. So we'll take as an example this director of communications job. Now, if you're looking for opportunities and you're using the LinkedIn platform, you have LinkedIn Premium. One of the benefits of that is that LinkedIn will tell you in this section here how you match. And LinkedIn says 3 skills match your profile, stand out by adding other skills that you have. Okay. And the skills added by the job poster show all skills. Okay. So the AI here is just a gift because LinkedIn is very, very clear in what you need to add. So add these skills to the profile. And I'll show you how to do that. I'll use my own profile as an example. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and I'm going to scroll down to the skills area, click the plus sign, and let's look at this list once more. It says I already have communication, leadership, and project management. I need to add Box Cloud and I'm going to click Save, add more skills. What else is it saying that I need? See how now it says 4 skills match your profile? Let's show all the skills. I'm going to add budgeting. Just click the Add button and I'm going to save it. 5 skills match your profile, okay? So what you want to do is you want to make sure that you get this number up to 10. You want all 10 skills matching your profile. Now, by the way, 2 things. Number 1, let's open this up again, actually. Communication strategy. So what if on my profile I have communication something, but it's different? What if I have, for example, marketing communications? So this is AI. Artificial intelligence doesn't know that things could be similar. They don't know about AI doesn't know about synonyms or anything like that. You have to add exactly what LinkedIn says, the way LinkedIn says it. So if I have communications something else, it still needs to say communications strategy. Okay. So here's another example, relationship development. What if I already have on my profile relationship management? Isn't that good enough? No, it is not. What I need to do is add relationship development. The second thing that we want to talk about here is make sure you actually have these skills. If you're applying for jobs that you are a reasonable match for, you very likely do have these skills. So if there's something on here that you've completely never heard of, don't add that because you're not being authentic and honest and truthful. When we're talking about this skills area, this is not necessarily to say you are expert in it and you live and breathe fostering inclusivity all day long. It means you're familiar with the concept. That's all it means. So if you have reasonably come into contact with these skills, if you've reasonably dabbled in these skills at the very, very least, then you can go ahead and add these to your profile and you're going to keep on adding them until it says that you are a 10 out of 10 match for the role. So we're talking about having skills now in the bottom section of this profile. Let's also talk about how this looks when you have skills at the top of your profile. This is a different example, but here is what I call a skyline headline. VP of Product Development Management, and Operations with expertise, technical product management, product innovation, commercialization and launch of AI, ML, data and cloud solutions. I ask why a lot. That's an expansive skyline headline. So the first thing that you want to do is make sure that you're taking full advantage of all the character space that LinkedIn gives you. And that's exactly what we did here for Jamie. Notice the hardcore keywords that fill this skyline headline: product development, technical product management, product innovation, commercialization, launch, data, cloud solutions. All of those are keywords that LinkedIn is going to be looking for. You want your skyline headline to be absolutely packed with keywords. Let's take a look at another example. So this is Troy. His skyline headline: owner's representative, construction project executive specializing in owner representation, construction management, project management, budget oversight. So what we want to do is we want to be emphasizing the same core keywords at the top of the profile as at the bottom of the profile. Let's go ahead and take a look. When we scroll down to his skills, okay, now, by the way, I can't highlight it, but you see at the very top, we still see his name and we still see his Skyline headline under his name, at least the portion of it that LinkedIn shows. But the Skyline headline, so that we don't forget, says he's an owner's representative, he's a construction project executive. What are the first two skills that we see on LinkedIn? Owner's representation and construction management. When we open this up, and what's important, you know what? Let me go back for a second, because before we even open this up, what this is called your skills above the fold. Above the fold, like in the fold in a newspaper. Above the fold was the big story of the day. Okay, this is above the fold. You want your skills above the fold to be absolutely squarely related to the thing that you are trying to get a job doing. This must hit the nail on the head. And then when we open up the rest of these skills, we have other things. Project management. You see, his third skill is also something that was in the Skyline headline. That's exactly what you want to be doing with your skills, friends, so that you're not falling into some of those big mistakes that most job seekers make that are keeping them from getting calls back. When you integrate and incorporate the core keywords in your LinkedIn profile this way, guess what? Two things happen. The first thing that happens is as soon as they click on your profile, right there in the headline, okay, they see, all right, this is a person we want. We need a construction project executive. They can see that immediately. And when he has those same keywords in the bottom of his profile under the skills section, this is what engages the AI on the LinkedIn platform. This is where we're able to show you're a 10 out of 10 match for the job that you're going for. If you know you need help to not fall victim to any of the mistakes we're talking about today, jump on the opportunity right now to get your new job game plan at 90dayoffer.com/game plan. It's 15 minutes of us talking about your background story, what's going on in your job search right now, what you're thinking you'd like to do next. If you're not getting enough responses, we'll talk about that. If you're interviewing but not getting offers, we'll talk about that. We'll also talk about whatever point in the job search you're in right now and what you feel like you need help with. The new job game plan is private and one-on-one. Share your story with me or with a specialist on our team, and you'll get some thoughts and recommendations on what to do next so that you have specific, concrete steps going forward. On the next episode of the Get Hired Show, the number one change you can make today to get the calls and the interviews you need. Be sure to join us right here, Friday at noon Eastern Time.